So in this video, I'm gonna tell you why I decided to change my camera, why I ended up with Sony A7S III, and then I'm gonna tell you about the bundle and the lenses I decided to start with, and then I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the confusing new world of which SD card should I get for my camera, and finally, we're gonna do a quick unboxing of the lenses and the camera. Coming right up. What's up everybody, my name is Sean, welcome to my tech channel. If this is the first time you're stopping by and you like content like this, you might want to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification so you won't miss my future videos. And by the way, when you turn on the bell notification, please remember to click all, because that's the only way you will get notified for all my videos. So my channel is about 2.5 years old. And when I started, I was just shooting with my iPhone and I was very happy with it. It served me just fine. As I started to do a little bit more videos, I realized that I wanted to get a DSLR camera to try to improve the quality of my videos. And I landed on a Canon 80D. That video has been fantastic. It has great autofocus. I love the fact that it has a fully articulating screen because I'm a one-man show, so I get to see in the monitor exactly what I'm recording. And it was just fine. It's a very small, lightweight camera, and it has been absolutely fantastic, especially in this kind of like closed environments when I can control the lighting. So as I started to improve the quality of my videos, or at least I tried, I started to get a few client work, and then I soon realized some of the limitations that my Canon 80D had. And there were two things in particular that really bothered me. Number one, I was not able to shoot slow-mo, and number two, its low light performance. Then I started to look at some new camera options, and in particular, there were 4 things I kept in mind when I was looking for a new camera. Number one, I wanted to get a full frame mirrorless camera this time around. Number two, I still need to have the fully articulating camera, so that way I will be able to look at myself as I'm shooting my videos. Number 3 and 4 are the 2 things that my ADD was lacking, and that was low light performance and then slow motion. So even though Canon has been the only DSLR camera that I have ever used, I wanted to keep an open mind and then see what options I have at that price point. In particular, I was looking at Panasonic, Canon, and Sony. In that price range for Panasonic, I was first I started looking at the S5 and then looked at the S1. Those were really giving you good quality images and in-body image stabilization, but it lacked 2 things: the fully articulating screen. That meant I had to look at the more expensive option, the S1H, which cost about $3,800, but it was still known that those cameras, the S1Hs, they had some autofocus issues. Then it was down to Sony and Canon. Canon knows for its better autofocus, and Sony is known for their better high frame rate and slow motion. But recently they have increased their performance when it comes to autofocus, so that's why I was strongly considering Sony. But there was one problem. The Sony A7 III, which was about $2,000, it did not have a fully articulating screen, and that meant I had to consider the Sony A7S III, which was about $3,500 for the body alone. From the Canon side, I could look at the R5, which is an absolute beast, but the problem is it's ridiculously expensive, and then I could consider an R6. The dynamic range and low light performance still not as good as what you can get out of an S-Log 3 in a Sony A7S III. So long story short, I said, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead future-proof myself and go ahead and get the Sony A7S III, and that's what I did. When it came to lenses, in my Canon workflow, I primarily use only 2 different lenses. I use a 35mm, which is this one that I'm shooting in my studio, and for some of my B-rolls, I was using a 50mm. But one thing you need to keep in mind, ADD is a crop sensor, and if you were to convert that, my 35mm is equivalent to of a 50mm, and my 50mm is equivalent of an 80mm. Then those became the 2 lenses I wanted to consider. So I landed on a 50mm 1.8 and 85mm 1.8 prime lenses from Sony. So far, I know my camera, Sony A7S III, 12.1 megapixel full frame sensor. I can shoot at 10-bit 422 and up to 240 frames per second. And I got the lenses I need, and then Oh boy, the confusing world of SD card for your Sony A7S III. There are so many different codecs and frame rates that you can go ahead shoot with this camera, which that by itself is extremely overwhelming. But depending on which frame rate and which format and codec you want to use, you have to have a card fast enough to be able to record all that footage into the card. The CF Express, which is the best card you can get for your Sony A7S III, is extremely expensive depending on the capacity you get. They're about $400 or $500 each, and I'm definitely not going to pay that much money. I looked online and I found on Alpha Universe website, I'll put a link down in the description below, they have a beautiful chart of every single recording option and what type of card you need. So then I realized, if I don't get the CF Express, what am I losing? And I looked at the next best option, which was the V90 version and then V60. So with the V90, I can shoot everything except in 4K, 120 frames per second, all I formats, and then 240 frames per second for HD, all I format. That doesn't mean I cannot shoot at those frame rates. I just cannot use all I have to use a different format. And then if I were to get the V60, which is the next option when it comes to the price and speed, then I would lose the 240 frames per second recording option, period. And I did not want to lose that. That's how I landed on the V90. I got a pair of 228 gig for $250. So this is my brand new Sony family, and I think I'm gonna be using this for many, many years to come. My goal was to go ahead, future-proof myself with getting this, this camera. Now, I know I did a full unboxing, but I did not show you the unboxing of the lenses. Something happened. I was set on manual focus, and the whole thing is just out of focus. But I promise I'm gonna do a proper lens review for these two lenses with sample footage, sample photos. So stay tuned for that. Rest of it, it's gonna take me a long time to learn, and be honest with you, I'm a little bit intimidated by everything that this camera can do and all the menus that you have to go through to try to learn your way around. This was it. Let me know, what do you guys think about my change? I know for every single person that they say they switch from Canon to Sony, there is a person who's saying I switched from Sony to Canon. These are all subjective. Honestly, all the new cameras that are coming out, they're all fantastic. It's just like saying, hey, is the new iPhone better or is the new Galaxy phone better? They're all great. It's just a matter of preference. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more video about my journey learning the Sony A7S III. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.